Hello, hello, and welcome to the Niler 9 podcast. This week, we are going to be talking to Cóilí Collins, aka DJ Shampain. The Connemara DJ has had a fairly illustrious career to date, which kicked off as a DJ in Galway, playing with as a duo with Evan Campbell, aka Ketama, as VSN. The pair then went on to form G-Town Records and brought Galway to the world stages of clubs and dance music, with Shampain playing everything from Boiler Room to tours of China and becoming a resident on Rinse FM France. Now, Shampain and Ketama's influence on the Galway scene and the electronic scene in Galway culminated in the pair taking over the Big Top marquee outdoors during the Galway Arts Festival in 2023. But DJing is not the be-all and end-all for Cóilí. Shampain is a creative fellow who doesn't rest, and that could mean presenting an Irish language TV show on TG Carter called Era Ella about Ireland subcultures, jointly running a barbershop called Public in Galway City, doing alternative silent film soundtracks to horror films like Nosferatu under the name Slaughterhouse, running a mixed media magazine and label called Freak, and this year finally releasing his own music for the first time, with much more to come. So we're going to chat to Shampain the night after our chat. Shampain plays the Big Top again in Galway with Interplanetary, Criminal and Tommy Holohan. And next week you can catch him at Jemison Connects the Circle stage at All Together Now, closing the stage on a Saturday night after David Holmes. So yeah, Shampain, he might cut your hair, he might do a DJ set, he might present a TV show. He was also a dance music journalist for 4-4 a few years ago, and much, much more. He's a really interesting, multifaceted guy. Here is a bit of a song from himself, from one of his, he had an EP out a couple of months ago, which was his first, as I said, called Catching Up With Myself. This is a track called One Royal Morning featuring Bethany. So let's have a chat to Shampain. That's Shampain. Shampain.
A burning beam like sun and moon, on silent foot will tumble home. My belly ablaze from the light I consumed. Bury with me now my cold solitude.
Now, all right. So how are you, Cóilí? What's the crack?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm here live from my studio in Galway.
I'm delighted to see you in your studio in Galway. You're a busy man. I've been reading a lot about you this week and last week, and all the various things that you do, and you don't seem to stop much.
No, I feel like I was cutting this old man's hair the other day, and he said that he had this like life-threatening illness and almost died. And then he walked into the pub, and some guy was like, "Geez, John, I thought you were dead." And he goes, "There's too much work to be done to die yet." And I was like, "I agree." So,
Wow.
So that's the sentiment I share. There's too much work to be done to die.
Okay, very good. And so, I mean, tomorrow night you're playing a big show in your hometown. Not the first of its kind in the Big Top. So, yeah, tell me about that. You've obviously done it before. Yourself and Ketama did Galway Arts Festival in 23.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, was that a culmination? That must have been a big culmination for you at the time.
Yeah, that was like a really monumental thing. I don't think the Big Top this year would be happening if we didn't do that. Like a dance music centric night, the Big Top would be happening.
Yeah, I mean, that was the first big, like, especially hometown thing as well.
Yeah. I think, like, you know, they've had like live electronic acts like John Hopkins and Left Field and like other acts. So it's not like we were the first dance music act per se, but I guess like of a sort of newer generation, and like we're DJing and there's kind of many DJs on the bill. It's not just one thing. So
Yeah.
we're definitely kind of the first to spearhead that as G-Town Records. So it was pretty cool. We did like this cool Q&A in the university beforehand as well. We felt like
Okay, yeah.
we were playing like a cup final or something, you know? So tomorrow, feels like a cup final, but I feel like I've been there before, so the nerves aren't there, you know.
Okay, yeah. But I mean, that is a big marker because, like, I mean, you've obviously you've repped Galway a lot through G Town Records, and yourself and Evan have done big things for Galway. Because Galway, like, what is your impression of what's going on there now? Because, you know, as someone who based in Dublin, I go to Galway and I see what's going on, and then I'm like, sometimes it ebbs and sometimes it really flows, and then you're just like, what's going on? Sometimes it can feel quiet from the outside, you know. So, but you've really done an amazing thing there with, you like, putting young stuff, Galway stuff on the map, like.
Yeah, I mean, this is what I mean. This is why I'm so busy, because we're constantly fighting upstream against the Dubs, you know? No, I honestly, it's good right now. It's weird. It's in a weird place. Like, say, when I started DJing, there was like a lot of like venues and stuff, and stuff like that. And there's a lot of kind of, weirdly, there was like less opportunities to put stuff on, but there was more space to put it on.
Yeah.
And now I feel like, you know, through the barbershop, for example, like I speak all day to like really cool young people that are like way cooler than I was when I was their age. Like, I was such a dumbass when I was like 18, 19, 20. To be honest, I still am. So like, it's really cool, and they're all like into like such cool stuff and like really like alternative music. Like, there's all these kind of like Haunted Mound, like underground rap fans that come in, and then you have these like noise music punk rockers that come in. So I definitely feel like there's more of an appetite for like alternative and underground stuff. Now, that's obviously always going to be in Galway, but I do think the real issue is like, and it's the same, it's in Dublin to a degree, but like if you look at Limerick, Cork, Waterford, Sligo, which were the 5 other places you'd play outside of Dublin if you were doing like a city tour of Ireland, there's a lot of things happening there, but there's nowhere to put it on. And it's, in fairness, in Galway, we're lucky, like the Roisin is there and Arsenal Whale just opened back up, and there is one or two other little spots, but like there's nowhere consistent where you can just like really kind of push the envelope. It's like you gotta put all of your stuff into, you know, for me, like I have to plan a gig and like put like a month's promotion into it. How could I say it? In opposition to what I've just said, I think the general interest is less, because before it was in spaces like Carbon and Electric and other places where you would have like DJs like myself and Evan, or you'd have Special Request or Miley Cyrus or Mallgrab or Patrick Topping even, or Huxley, you know, the more mainstream names. And the students would be exposed to that all the time, whereas now they're not. So the kind of more general interest, I feel like, is saved for stuff like Tomorrow or, you know, bigger events that are on kind of less regularly.
Well, isn't that what's happening kind of across the board? I mean, you see it in Dublin as well. I mean, there's actually less of the smaller venues and less of the nightclubs anyway. And like, obviously that tracks with what's going on with Give Us the Night and like the downward trend in club spaces around the country. Like, Galway is no different than why. Yeah, like that happens everywhere really. And you're seeing the same thing in Dublin. It's kind of like this weird dance music, electronic music, bigger than ever. But yet there's an increased focus on those kind of big nights. Big nights are great, but you need the residencies, the stuff that keeps things ticking over. Obviously, it's summertime at the moment. Summertime is always a tough time to do most things. You know, you're not going to be doing a lot of club things in the summer with the festivals and all that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so how is it different now? How does it feel for you now compared to when you first started doing what you're doing in Galway?
I still am good though. Like, I don't think it's all doom and gloom. Like, it's really positive. Like, I've always tried to be a DJ that plays a lot of diverse music and like just push the envelope. And I feel like it's actually easier to, once you get the opportunity to do that, it's way easier. I mean, I put an event on last year where the lineup, I have the poster here, the lineup was me, Just Mustard, Ola Monk, and One Leg.
Yeah.
Now, if you had to put that on in 2016 when I started DJing, we got laughed out the room. So, and that was pretty full, and it was in a swimming pool. So, like,
this was a Sherry was I was in the leisure land.
Yeah. So like, I definitely think like it's not all doom and gloom. Like, I do think there is like serious interest, and I think people are exposed to a lot more different types of music, and that's a good thing, you know. But
absolutely,
it's like what you said. It's like dance music's at this all-time high, but I don't really think that's true. I just think that the crowd that are marketing dance music at the moment are really rich and have like a really good marketing team. And they're able to say that it's at an all-time high, but in reality, it's not. Like, they just keep rehashing the same thing over and over again. And basically the audiences just pay for all the added costs, and everybody else is just like still making the same amount of money. So I don't know. I don't really believe that sort of thing, but I also don't think it's all doom and gloom, you know?
Well, I mean, the fact that you are playing in the big top is, you know, indication of a change of something, you know. It's not simply just the commercial stuff that's big, you know. That's what I mean. The interest is there for interesting underground, if you want to use that term, or whatever you want to call it, like alternative or whatever. But that's really prevalent now. But I think, you know, the flip side is like the spaces for people to start out. Like, where did you start DJing when you first started?
Myself and Evan used to have a Saturday night residency. This is Kedema for those who don't know.
Yeah.
We used to have a residency every Saturday night in the second room in Carbon nightclub, which was a pretty like commercial-ish spot. It was just very super Galway vibes. Like, it was just random, you know. Yeah,
that opened up again last year, didn't it? And
no, that was Electric.
I thought Carbon was open as well.
No, it was Cuba.
Briefly. Cuba, sorry.
And then Cuba was wicked actually when it reopened, because we put a night on there through the barbershop with Regal 86, this Mexican DJ. It was like the best gig ever. And that's, you know, why I kind of have hope for stuff like this, because Cuba actually closed down because the pub it was above that it was like leased from closed. It wasn't actually
right. Okay. Shit.
Closed. You know what I mean? So I don't actually think the club itself is doing badly. I think it was just a bad circumstance. So I think when stuff actually gets let off the leash, the interest is there. I mean, every day in the barbershop, people talk to me about how they want to go out. Now, obviously, if I'm your barber, you're hardly going to tell me you hate DJs. But at the same time, people have said worse to me. So I definitely gauge the feeling that like people do want to go out, you know, amongst other things.
Do you feel like doing the barber thing, you kind of really get to know what's going on in the city as well?
Yeah, I think with too much, to be honest. This week, I'm actually fucking so fed up with people asking me for tickets and stuff.
Oh, yeah, well, that's a problem. Yeah, for sure.
Can't be bothered. Someone told me recently that another Galway legend, if I'll allow myself to put myself in the same categories, Joe Canning has like a hurl shop out in Portumna or somewhere. And I think on the week of big games, he just wouldn't work in there because he couldn't, like, he was just like, I can't listen to this crap. All the sideline commentators. So I'm hearing all this great speculation about who's going to play on Friday or what's going to happen or who the guests are going to be.
Yeah.
But like the other day, for a perfect example, I know exactly what's going on was I'd got no break. I was really busy, which is great. And ran to the shop. And I get into the shop and I'm buying a Twix. I'm just on work, like, do you know what I mean? And I own the shop, so it's not just work, but like, it's still work at the end of the day. And I'm like, yeah, can I just grab this Twix? And the guy's like, oh, are you playing at the big top? And I was like, yeah. He's like, is Kedema playing as well? And I was like, is the other fella working this shift as well? Can he serve me? And he's like, so you get to get, he's like, I just thought there was a special guest. So yeah, maybe sometimes you're a bit too close, but take the big top out of it. Yeah, I think it's great. Like, I mean, if anyone ever wants to become a promoter, just open a barbershop first. It's really like good community space. And I think that's another reason. There's something I've learned from the barbershop is like, if you want to do underground stuff or real stuff in your community, you need to like be there and be on the ground, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's like why it was so popping when I was in college and stuff, because all of us that were putting stuff on, we were all in college and going out all the time. And like, you were just always telling people stuff was on, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas when you're relying on just to be online all the time, you're never going to outbid these really big promoters, you know? And like,
sure,
that space is totally dominated by big promoters with huge marketing teams. And, you know, the algorithms are kind of set up in that sort of way, you know? So nothing can beat you having a space where people can come and you can just tell them in person and they can ask you as many FAQs as they want. Sometimes it's annoying, but they'll know the lay of the land, you know? Have you crossed the streams then? Have you done some parties in the barbershop? Are you leaving that well alone? Yeah, everyone keeps asking me to do that as well. But yeah, I don't think right now anyway, it's I want to, but I definitely want to do it right if we do it. So I haven't managed to cross that bridge yet. But we do run parties through the barbershop. So and we'll actually have like a summer party next month to celebrate opening a new shop. So we still do it.
Yeah, so you were living in London, then you moved back to do the shop. Is that right? So what convinced you to come home and do that? And
History.
Yeah.
No. I just
you had
a
enough.
little bit. No, I was actually speaking about this with someone yesterday, but like I just feel like when you're in London as a full-time musician or DJ or whatever, you're like constantly around people that are like also doing that or trying to do that, and like it's kind of like you're unemployed realistically because you don't really have to do anything during the week and you have gigs on the weekend. And I mean, it's absolutely unreal, but like personally, I still approach music the same way I did when I was like 17. Like I'm really like into it. When I want to do something, I really want to do it. I'm really like determined to do it. And like, I just kind of got the vibe when I was there that people are really dictated by labels and like management and this isn't specific people. Like, it's just the overall vibe I got there. Like whenever you spoke to anybody at a gig or in a green room or anything like that, like people were always just talking to you about like logistics and numbers and
right. Yeah.
oh my God, I don't care. Like I don't care because if this all failed and like nobody wanted to listen to me anymore, but I did it my way, I'd be like grand, you know? Whereas I would hate for my music or my career as a DJ and stuff, like not to succeed because I listened to somebody else's advice, you know, which maybe that's a good or bad thing. I don't know. But like, I just got the vibe in London that there wasn't actually this real like creativity running through everything. Everything felt like it was a means to an end, you know? And to be honest, I respect people that want to do that are that driven, that they'll kind of compromise maybe their vision for like their own success. And that's amazing. But like personally, I find when you're in Galway, you can speak to someone who's like a nothing musician. And at the end of the day, the amount of like audience you have or pull you have or status you have, when it comes down to you just talking about music, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Whereas realistically, if you're the biggest person in the room and you walk into a room in London, you tell someone to like, go shine my shoes, they might actually just do it. You know what I mean? Because like they're like, oh, this might get me somewhere. Whereas there's a, you know, in Ireland and in Galway, like if someone tell you to fuck off, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, I'm buying a Twix and the guy doesn't even care that I'm playing, you know, to my face. So like, true. And I like that because it's like, that's how you really know where you stand with people. I just can't live with that. And also I just love Ireland so much. I also think like, you know, if you really want stuff to improve here, like you got to put the boots on the ground and get it done here, you know?
I agree. I mean, I've had many times over my time doing this now, nearly 20 years. And, you know, when recessions hit and you're like, people go away and you're like, nah, I want to stay here. I don't want to go. I want to be part of what's happening. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think it's important to recognize that. And like, you know, man, it depresses me so much all the time because like when you talk about Irish musicians and cover Irish music and you're like, here we go. Here's another London-based Irish artist. You're like, oh, man, why? And I know why. Obviously, I know why. And you know, there's pros and cons to that. But same time, it just a little bit of your heart goes, why can't we keep them? You know?
Yeah, and I think like I do agree. Like I get why people go, and like I literally did it myself. But I just think also that like, you know, even when it comes to like political stuff, like if you really want to get stuff done, you do have to do it yourself. And I do get a bit sick of all these like artists that move not just to London but like abroad, and then they just whinge about Ireland. And I'm like, you know, there's people in like I just play gigs in China, for example. Like there's people in China that like do not have the same opportunities for exposure that we do in Ireland, simply from just being in Europe, you know, and you can just fly over to London. I'm like, stop whinging. Like, you know how big of a deal it is when like an artist from Ireland who's made it comes back and does something here to a big scale that's meaningful. I'm like, you could just do that and it would be worth so much more than expecting Fianna Fáil, who have never changed course. If you can give them one thing, they're consistent. And they've never changed course. I'm like, why do you expect these like politicians who only ever do things to suit themselves? Why would you expect them to change? Yeah. You know, it can just be frustrating when you listen to people. Now, not like the likes of Sunil and stuff, because he's actually doing something. You know what I mean? But yeah, I'm sick and tired of these like it's just so like Bob Geldof, like to just like sit there and be like, oh, Ireland, and I'm like, oh my God, just shut up. Like, I don't care. I don't need to hear any more criticism about the place. We all know it's actually been like this for so long, you know?
Yeah. But there is, you know, I mean, there is a bit of an increased pride in, you know, like I know you've played some of the like kind of trad stuff you've played in the DJ sets and stuff like that. Like that would have been unheard of like 10, 15 years ago, people doing that. The only other person I've heard do that recently is David Kitt playing some trad in the middle of a set. You know what I mean? So like, you know, there's that pride as well, which is, you
100%.
know, is there now, and then maybe there wasn't before. You know, pride in our own heritage and culture and all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I mean that's. I think there is that, but then at the same time, we're kind of like, oh well, I have to go, and there's still too much of that. And I think that's about industry. And you're like, you're putting your feet down again in Galway, and like you're in the community. You got the barbershop. You're doing your own thing, and you're playing in places like China. Like, I mean, that's mad. That's mad stuff to be doing. I don't know many people who go off and play a tour of China. I think I saw New Dad are doing maybe as well.
Galwegians do it best.
Yeah, what's going on there? Why is all going to China?
We have a little portal in the car. No, I actually don't know, but the one thing I'll say is that the gigs in China were amazing, and the scene there was like really sick. And like I said, it just opened my eyes to like, you know, it's like, it wasn't like this real bad thing in China. Like, it was sick and really like well developed, and like the clubs are unbelievable. The staff were so amazing, and it really brought me back to like hangar days, for example, where like everybody, you could see everybody was like living and dying in the club. You know, it was class. But yeah, like at the same time, it's like, you know, it was really like they were so plugged into what was happening worldwide and booking like sickest DJs. Like, they knew so much about like the stuff that I'd done, and I'm a relatively underground artist, and like I was just like, wow, like, you know, we have the whole world at our doorstep in Ireland, and like people still kind of complain a lot, and I get it, like all complaints are relative, but yeah, China was amazing. Like the crowds there were so sick, and like just like open to some of the craziest music I was playing. I was even playing trad over in China. Could be the first DJ to have ever done that, maybe. Not talking first.
How do you find that out? We have to, I don't know, ask Imro or something like that.
Yeah, honest to God though, you could ask, like, they were so dedicated in China, like, especially in Shenzhen where I played, like, they could actually tell you that.
Yeah.
And yeah, I want to give a shout out. Evan Campbell actually also played in China in like 2018 before he'd even played a headline gig in Ireland. So,
right, yeah, wow.
They're just plugged into what's happening in Galway, you know?
It's a special place. So, I mean, you're playing a big top tomorrow. Like, how do you prepare for a set like that? Do you prepare sets much? Do you think about what you're going to play? Like, are you the winging type?
It just depends on the set. Like, for a club show, I don't like wing it, but like I'll kind of make like a massive folder of just like new stuff, and also stuff that's kind of in the rotation, for want of a better word. But for tomorrow and like for festivals all the time, you kind of have like shortened sets. You know, it's not as long as what would usually be in a club. So I always try to like plan it pretty precisely. More so because like, well, especially here, right? And especially because I have the shop now. If I don't do a good job tomorrow, I'm going to hear about it for the longest time. So
yeah.
The pressure's actually on in that regard, you know. Whereas
you won't be able to buy any Twixes for a while if you do.
God, bro is going to be begging for Getaman the next time we're going for a Twix. But yeah, so like but jokes aside, like I try to, especially now because I've produced lots of music and I want to fit it all in there, and then I also want to sort of maintain my overarching style of DJing. I think about it too much, but like,
do you have a DJ philosophy? Do you have an idea of like what you want to put across in terms of like your sound, like the vibe?
Yeah.
Do you think about those kind of things?
I just kind of say to myself, like, do you want it to just like, I kind of am just like, do you want it to be slamming or do you want it to be interesting? And some of them are interesting and some of them are slamming, and then some of them are both. It kind of just depends on the mood I'm in. So yeah, I don't really try to overthink about it too much, but for the ones that are like an hour long, I try to really just like, I kind of make like a general list, and it's like, here's the start, here's the end, and then I have like 25 other tracks at the end that I'm like, here, if this isn't working, throw one of these in, you know?
Okay, yeah. And so, yeah, like you mentioned there, releasing your own music. This is something that has been long in the offing, perhaps. And So you've done it now. You've started it. You've opened the portal. How are you feeling about it? I mean, why did it take so long, first of all? And then secondly, why now?
Well, it took so long because I never did it. So it was it was just never going to happen. But
did you think you were never going to make your own music?
I never really cared, like, in terms of like Shampain as a project in my mind is realistically just a DJ, like. But you know, if it stayed that way, I wouldn't care. But yeah, I just was really bored when I was in London. Like I said, it was like I was unemployed. Like, do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
I kept acquiring equipment over a while because I was just being too lazy to learn how to use like say the likes of Ableton or Fruity Loops or something. And then there was one day anyway, we were all in the house. I was so bored. I was like, oh my God, I'm just going to try and make a track. I didn't know how to use anything that I had. I had like a synth and a drum machine at the time. And yeah, I literally just whittled together this sort of really scary, ominous track. But I was really happy with it. And I was like, whoa, that was actually good. And I just put it together in Audacity really quickly because it was just what was on my laptop. And then, anyway, yeah, moved home. I think I might have made one other track in London. Moved home, opened up a barbershop. So obviously took a bit of a backseat for a while. And then I kept trying to make tracks for a little while. It still wasn't really happening. Then, I don't know what it was. I toured Australia last year in June. And then when I came back, I feel like I reset my entire mind. I don't know what it was. And I just was like, I actually kind of want to like make a couple of tracks. So I just rented this studio with like 0 tracks to my name, 0 anything. I was just like, I know if I pay for this, I will just do it. Because at this point I was interested enough to do it. So started off anyway, long story short, eventually was making all these really cool, terrifying experimental tracks, playing bass guitar on some of them, really, really cool, like rock vibes. And I was like, okay, kind of might do this under another alias because it's so different. And then was about to throw in the towel with Audacity because I just could not make a club track in it because there's no grid and the effects are very limited. And then I made one good one. And then I was like, okay, that was good. I can redo this. And now I've made like 20. And if Audacity is listening and they want to sponsor me, sign me up.
Going the burial route, right? And then what Audacity, that's what Burial uses, yeah.
He used something like that, but yeah, so
or SoundForge,
something, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so that's kind of it. And then I don't know, it's really fun. I really enjoy it. I find like, you know, when you're asking me about my ethos of DJing, like there's certain tracks I won't play just because I feel like they're not me. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this might make sense if a robot was doing this DJ set, but I just can't play it. And now I feel like some of the tracks I'm making are like fitting into the gaps I couldn't fill as a DJ. And so that's how I really approach the clubbier side of production. It's really just like, how would I make a track if I was playing it out? You know, if I was playing somebody else's track out, what are the elements I would add to it as a DJ? And now it's kind of like, it's fun to be able to do that. And I enjoy the process of working with my hands, you know? So yeah, Audacity is king. But to be honest, it's actually all these synths and drum machines and pedals and stuff that I have that really do the heavy lifting.
Yeah. So I was at one of the silent film shows you did a couple of years ago, the Nosferatu one in the Complex. So, I mean, that was the Slaughterhouse stuff. So what's the vibe with that? Does the original kind of music stuff come into this at all, or that was before it? That
was... The first time I ever played out an original track was for a silent movie show, but I don't think it was that one. That would have been around that time though, because yeah, like at that point with those silent movie shows, and I have no problem saying it, like you're basically using the CDJs and mixer as an instrument. You know what I mean? Like I'm not bigging myself up here, but I mean as in like, I'm sure you can say like when you went to that, you're a DJ. At certain points, I'm sure you were wondering like, what is this sound? Is this sound in the track or like what?
Yeah,
and that was just because I'd spent, again, I was in my room in London for days on end, like tweaking this mixer and finding out how to do all this stuff and getting all these weird, intricate mixes. And like at certain points when I was doing the soundtrack, it's like, oh my God, like surely if I could use Ableton, this would be so much easier, you know? But I loved it because...
Like you said, hands-on, right? I mean, that's the other thing about it. It's like very much like you're using them like an instrument, like you said.
Yeah, 100%. So then, yeah, that kind of spurred on the production thing as well. And like, definitely I'll be excited now once I get some time or like some inspiration to kind of think of a new silent movie project. Like the production aspect of it, I think is going to be amazing. But I think because I've been a DJ for so long, I really try not to let the production hold you back. You know, sometimes people have better tracks than you. And like, you know, it doesn't need to be such a glamour project that like I do everything myself and everything's my own. And it's like,
yeah. Well, I mean, mention that you are big on collaboration. There's no doubt about it. Like, I mean, this is something that like whether it's with Evan or like I know you have tracks with other people that you've made, or you've stuff with Julie as well coming up as well, perhaps. Yeah, and you know, you've talked about collaborating with people. You've done a lot of things. The Freight magazine, for example, with your pal, your photographer friend Keane, and loads of others. I mean, that's part of what you do. Is like collaboration is huge to you. Then you're not just this, you know, solo person who does whatever.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, I think it's just you're really lucky a lot of the time to be able to like, you know, being a DJ or being an artist or something like that. You're really lucky to be able to be around all these people that also are in pretty like lucky positions. Like, so I think it's class to be able to like work together. And sometimes it can be really frustrating because like you really want to work with someone and maybe they're just not feeling it quite the way you are, and you're like, oh, like I know if we did this it would be good, but you know that's not how it works. But
yeah,
when something like, say for example, the tracks I made with my girlfriend Bethany, like they're unreal, and it literally was just like super quick. Like the same with Julie from New Dad. Like I just texted her. I was like, this is kind of the vibe. Let me know if you want to do it. I feel like it'd be cool. And I think for people that know me, they know I'm like just a bit chaotic and like unpredictable, I guess. But I think they know that like I'm really, when I ask to do something or something, they're like, I'm fully sure of like what you're talking about, but I know that you are. So like,
okay, yeah,
I'll go along for the ride, you know. And I understand that can be definitely difficult to work with at times. I'm sure Evan Fahey that runs the barbershop with me could well attest to of just like, what is this guy doing? But but you know, I think like with music, and again, that's so exciting to me when it comes to producing music. Like there's so many artists I want to work with, and it's really fun because it's like I'm starting a whole music career again. And yeah, like when I started DJing, I was always so excited about doing back-to-backs. And, you know, making tracks with people is, in a sense, like doing a back-to-back. It's like a painting.
Yeah, I mean, and like DJing can be a somewhat lonely pursuit at times, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's great when you have other people to vibe off, and also be surprised by when you're playing and you're like, oh, I wouldn't have played that, or, you know, learn on the job, but you're always learning, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it is a bit lonely at times, but it's nice when you're in the barber all the time now. It's nice to like when you have gigs to just go and it's like peaceful. Whereas when I was DJing full time, as my only thing, it would just be like really like you go away and you're like, my God, don't want to be on my own right now, you know? Yeah.
I mean, that's why people have, you know, entourage and all that stuff to bring with them, you know, and when they get to a certain point, you're like a lot of it is just, they just don't want to be on their own, you know what I mean? That's it. Just like bring your pal so you can hang out with them. Yeah, that really makes a difference, you know? So you picked a couple of tracks for me. We're going to talk about and play a couple of tracks that you're loving at the moment. So the first one is this SoundCloud track. On a sec now. I'm going to play a bit of it. Summer of Love featuring Malibu.
Oh yeah, by Taurus.
So declare and false so declare and false so declare right here.
No matter how far, couldn't be much more from the heart. Forever trusting who we are.
this.
Right now. Right here. Right now.
So that is a little bit of a track from Taurus.
Yep.
And it says the things under the description. It says the Veronicas, Jonas Blue, Janet Jackson, Fatboy Slim, Tom Krell, All Saints. It's a mix as well, right? What's the story with this one? I'm not.
Okay, so the story with that track is that it's by this Dutch producer called Taurus, and it features Malibu, who collaborates or is always doing stuff with OK Lou from France.
Oh yeah.
I heard that I can't remember, it was a mix, and I was like, oh my god, what is this? So I'm pretty obsessed with that track because when I was younger I used to listen to the radio like every minute of the day. Like whenever I wasn't in school, I would just have the radio on all the time.
Yeah.
And that's genuinely just like when I used to play FIFA, like all those tracks, which is like I genuinely, it all came like flooding back to me, you know what I mean? And the description, like you said, is like that. So yeah, Taurus is this really cool, like sort of ambient, like drumless sort of producer. I think he's made tracks like that are also kind of clubby or stuff like that. But to be honest, one of my favorite producers right now. Just like makes like unbelievable sort of soundscape music that would definitely lean into the sort of more ambient stuff that I'm interested in and that I've played out. And then Malibu has a show on NTS called United in Flames, and it's just unbelievable. I play it in the barbershop all the time. It's really dreamy, like sort of salon vibes almost. That's what Ray Works Me always describes it as. But it's just amazing. So I just think it's really cool. And I think like pop music is actually pretty cool right now. And I think it's cool. It's a cool track because I think it's sort of paying homage to like the pop music we refused to say was cool at the time, but has now inspired loads of cool music, you know?
Yeah, it reminds me, listening to that kind of reminds me of the 2010s, because it's like those kind of remixes that would have been on like the Hype Machine like 10, 15 years ago. We were like, here's a cool pop track in an ambient style. There was a lot of that kind of stuff as well. There was a lot of everything at that time. Everyone was remixing everything all the time. That was what was happening. You know,
and also...
Sorry, I was just going to say, like, I got sent a Fontaine's remix today, and it just occurred to me, I was like, God, I don't get enough of these actually anymore. I was like, because if it was 10 years ago, I'd just be flat out the wazoo with like Fontaine's remixes all the time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to happen as much anymore, like as in people putting them up and stuff like that. So
I actually, Justin Bieber's Live Lounge from BBC is maybe one of my favorite things of all time, and I clipped his version of Fast Car and took the guitar out of it, and then I used to play it all the time. There's actually a mix I have. It's from a Rinse show where you can. There's a Cormac Begley song, and then I'm playing this Justin Bieber vocal over it for Fast Car. So we were actually painting the new barbershop when I was listening to this mix, and this Taurus track came on. I was like, "Oh my god, the Veronicas!" And then the vocal for Fast Car came on. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "What?" So yeah,
that reminds me as well. The Justin Bieber, and exactly as around that time, 2010, 800% slower. When somebody took one of his tracks, "You Smile." It's actually on SoundCloud now, still from 14 years ago. Slowed down 800%, and I remember listening to that and going like, "Wow." That's like, because that was when he was the teeny bopper and like people weren't taking him seriously. But all of a sudden, it's kind of very much like that Summer of Love track. It's like, wow, you're hearing really interesting things when you slow it down like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm currently working on like Chopped and Screwed Memories by David Guetta.
Right, wow.
Soundscape. So memories from the afterlife or some type of vibe, you know? That's what I was doing this morning.
Nice. So I asked you for a couple of tracks that you're loving right now. The other one is a track from a guy called Netsbend. So I'm going to play a bit of this.
Swear to God, if you had a torch, you'd be in the last with it. Like who you with? Like coming in color pink. She wanted me to hit. She said, let me live. Like, come on, twin. We can all get in. Like, we can't all get in. Like, this ain't that you out of swag with it. Swag with it. And I class fucking my bitch. My bitch. For that class, you drove bad bitch. Bad bitch. Drink color. Poppin' tags with it.
Okay, Netsband, tell me more.
This is, my current obsession is all these underground rap artists like Netsend, Xavier So Based, Fake Mink, ST Kid, Rico Ace, Osama Sun, you name it. They're all these American and UK artists. But yeah, I was kind of gone off dance music for a little while as well. Like I just found that loads of the production was either really commercial or just kind of boring. Like, you know, I wasn't finding much like new, like something that you just listen to, you're like, whoa, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was listening to something anyway. I was listening to loads of like Haunted Mound actually, because they're sort of like randomly affiliated with Oldham Monk through their like Irish connection. So I was listening to Haunted Mound. I was like, this is pretty crazy. And then just found all these other artists like American, UK artists, and even there's Irish artists too, like Death to Ricky and Seven.
Immediately thought of him. He's playing his first gig in Dublin next week. So
I would like to shout out the Galway contingent, Seven Eddie.
Okay, yeah.
He has a track called G-Town, and it's so good. So just want to give a shout out to me and Evan's record label might have influenced the underground rap era of today. But anyway, getting back to it. Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not one to usually go to the top dog or the most popular one, but I actually think Netsend's music is so sick. It's really stupid. Like, I understand people will be like, what even is this? But I just think it's sick. And it's like, I remember when I was younger, like trap was a thing, or drill and grime were all like a thing. And you'd have these like older rap heads being like, oh my God, like this is not core. And now I'm like, I'm 28, so I'm still young. But like, you know, you'd think like, oh, if I was listening to this, I'd be like, what even is this? And I'm like, no, this is so cool. And like I said, like I have these younger customers that come into me and they're like so pumped on it. They're getting their hair cut like all the like different artists. They're wearing all this like clothes like them. And I'm like, I just think it's sick to see history repeating itself, but in like a new way, you know? And the production on them is sick. And especially there's a producer in the UK called Wraith9 that makes tracks. And actually the track the track Based Against Time on my mixtape, Catching Up With Myself, was like I completely made it just kind of trying to make like underground rap sort of instrumental, but as like a sort of like techno, that's not really techno track, but you know what I mean.
Okay, an inspiration, yeah, cool. Yeah, there is. I mean, it's really interesting, loads of that stuff now at the moment, the Irish rap underground stuff. It's happening. It's popping at the moment, which is nice to see, you know. And people kind of go, you know, there's no such thing as scenes anymore. Yes, there is. There's definitely. But yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's nice. Like, sometimes it's like, you're like, it's nice to see stuff and you're like, I'm too old for this, but I still like that it exists, you know. Like, it's mostly just the lyrics. I'm like, oh, I'm cringing at that a tiny bit, but like, fair play. But the productions are always like on point as well. I was like, that's the stuff about, like, when I was listening to Death to Ricky, I was like, this is really good. It's really good. And then the mixtape came out and I was like, some really good stuff on that too. So yeah, but I also like that he is doing it live, which is, you know, and a lot of these artists are doing it live, which is not a given anymore, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's sick. And like, I just think it's sick to have excitement around music. And like, yeah, it totally is a scene. It's like a little like subculture in itself. And like, literally like my entire TikTok is like Fake Mink just performed with Drake. And then all the comments were just like, does anybody know any new artists? Because he's not cool anymore. And I was all this. And I was just like, 100%. Like when I was younger and we were in 4-4, for example, and like, some DJ we all thought was cool would like play back to back with like a commercial DJ at the time. We'd all be like, oh no, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and I think that's missing from dance music at the moment. If I'm honest, like there's no like actual haters, and like I hate that. Like you need people to like. It's not like, you know, it's not good to be just hating on people for the sake of it. But I mean, it's in like you need people to be like, hey, look, that's actually just not cool. Like, grand, you might have done it for the money or you might have done it for the exposure, but we real ones think it's whack, you know? And like, I think it's really missing because sometimes in dance music now, all the talk is about like, I don't know if you get this, but, and I think it's more broad for music. I meant to say this earlier. It was like, everyone's always like, what an achievement. Oh, what a massive gig. And like, everything's all about like the scale of it and how everything's an achievement. And it's like, you rarely, if ever see anybody go to a gig or comment about a gig about how cool it was or how like unique it was or how like different the music was. It's always like, wow, like congratulations on this huge achievement. And it's like,
Yeah.
you know, back in the day that wouldn't have slid. And obviously I think there's like way too much criticism all the time. And like if you did, you know, I used to get it all the time. I'd play like a track that was like had a hi-hat in the different place, and people would be like, what do you play? And I'd be like, oh my God, give me a break. You know what I mean? But I do think sometimes it swings too far the other way, where like you just have to give everyone a pat on the back for everything. And sometimes you should be allowed to say, look, it's great you did that, but I also think it's whack. You know what I mean? And it's like, it doesn't need to be personal attack, you know?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think like probably the Fortet and Skrillex stuff is probably a good example of like, it's like people are like, what are you doing, Kieran Hebson? You're a domino artist. You're like, you do your own thing. And then he's like playing Coachella with Skrillex, and everyone's like, oh, I don't know how I feel about this, but like he's making it work for himself. That's fine. He's put the work in over the years. He's doing his own thing. He's still maintaining his own thing. He's still making the weird music on the side with William Tyler doing weird guitar ambient stuff as well. So like, you can have it both ways if you want.
Yeah, exactly. And I also think it's cool because like it opens up a discussion about, you know, how how people like perceive music and stuff. Like, I think it's cool I think the Fortet thing is actually a perfect example, because people would be criticizing it and stuff, but then you'd have people say, well, no, like Skrillex actually was like in an emo band before and he knows his stuff, and like, you know, artists shouldn't be just kept in one way. And I think that sort of discussion is definitely really missing from like music as a whole, you know, where like, it's not good when people are like negative about stuff for the sake of it, and they're always going to be like that. But I do think it'd be great. Like I would love, for example, if I played tomorrow and then someone was like, I can't believe you played this track. And then someone else was like, no, I like that you played this track. And like, I just think it's good to like, if people feel that passionately about music, to like say something about it, you know? Because like,
this is the kind of result of the Poptimist stuff, where like, you know, people are bringing in like mashups and stuff of anything and everything. And you know, there was an article a couple of years ago, I think it was last summer, it was like, oh, we've had too much of the like DJ pop edits now, we need to stop this, it's gone too far, like there's only so many Britney Spears remixes DJs can play at wherever, you know what I mean? So that's part of it. Like, and it's like you say, it's the ebb and flow. You get too much of one thing, and then all of a sudden people are like, that's too much, we don't need more of that. And then you're saying the opposite now, because you're like, you know, a bit more hate is good.
Yeah, and again, not like hate is definitely not the right word.
Not hate, but yeah, like,
you know,
criticism,
some haters, some
bit of fun.
Haters. Like, because I think too, like, you know, in saying that, like, people criticize dance music so much, and so much of it can be so loaded. Like, people will say like, oh, we don't want edits, but in reality, what they don't like is there's more like visible queer artists and more artists from different backgrounds, and it's not just the same boring guys playing stuff. So they're like, why are people having fun, you know? And
yeah,
that sort of thing. But I like I love the discussion, you know, and I guess I can take it. But again, if you want to direct your hate, direct it at me. I'm actually open. My mailbox is open. Is what I should say.
No more Twix for you. Okay. I'm going to go pick, we're going to move on to two of your kind of inspirational choices. So first one from DJ Rush, a song called Club Freaks.
We're gonna terrorize the club. We're gonna terrorize the club. Terrorize it. That's what I'm talking about this evening, kids. Terrorize the club and beer down. Club freaks, y'all. We're everywhere. We're terrorizing the club scene. We're in Belgium. We're in Germany. We're in England. We're in America. We're everywhere.
Do you remember when you heard this first?
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was in Galway. It was over COVID, but I was with, I can't remember precisely where I heard it first, but I remember showing Evan Campbell, we were driving around, and he was just like, man, this track is insane. And I was like, it's so sick. Like, I was just so obsessed with it, because it's like, I don't know, it's really me, like, you know what I mean? Just like going crazy. Like, I just love the lyrics. Like, they're so stupid and simple, but like, it's just facts, you know? So every time I play this track out, I always like kind of lose my mind a bit. It's just crazy. And then I just went on this deep dive of DJ Rush, and he definitely inspired me to make music like 100%. I remember Evan even saying it at the time. He's like, man, you need to make music like this. It's like listening to this track is like you talking on a normal day. So
Okay, yeah.
and it's just like so simple. Like it's such a simple track. And it's just like so slamming. It's like what I said earlier. It's just like so slamming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like you put it on. It's like banging, and he's just like, I'm a psycho. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's just talking over this track, and it's really, really simple. So that was definitely a huge inspiration for me, because like DJ Rush is a legend. And like he'd play with these like 12-inch platform boots on, and like he used to have these styrofoam cubes glued to his head. And he's just like out there, you know. But that's what it's about. Like at the end of the day, so yeah,
being a club freak, yeah,
literally, you know. And it shouldn't be, you know, like I said, like you get loads of hate back in the day for like anything. So like it all goes back to being a club freak, you know. So shout out to the club freaks worldwide. But yeah, massive shout out to DJ Rush, and also shout out to Sam Greenwood, because Sam put me on to DJ Rush. God knows when. He used to just always play these mixes that he has in the office in 44 magazine. And then when we used to go to gigs and stuff, and it was like the most abrasive music to me at the time, I was like, this is crazy. And now, like, yeah, I definitely, Club Freaks is like one of my top 10 tracks ever. But when it comes to production,
yeah.
Huge inspiration. And also DJing. After COVID, I remember I played this gig in Newcastle with Evan, and I was playing that track out, and the club was like jumping. It was actually the first gig after COVID, and it was at like 5 a.m. or something as well, and in this really cool club called World Headquarters. That's actually one of the only black-owned venues in the UK, I think. And yeah, I was playing Club Freaks, and I remember Ev turned to someone, he like grabbed some poor kid, some Geordie kid, and he's like, record this. He loves this track. I can hear him. and there's a video of me playing it, and it's only 10 seconds or something. We can just hear Evan being like, it's like its favorite track right now. So yeah, it's a sick tune.
Okay, it hasn't dissipated. The Club Freaks is still on. Very nice. And then taking it back to Galway with Olan Monk, very different vibe now. Track from his 2021 album, Last Days. So I'm gathering you know Olan pretty well.
Yeah, myself and Olin went to the same primary school in Inverin, Inzeron. And yeah, Olin was in my older brother's class. So yeah, me and Olin go way back, but they actually moved. Not precisely sure where, but they were abroad for ages. And then when we did the Big Top the first time, Olin actually came to the talk that we did at the university. So there's this person there with like super long like hair, hoodie, blah, 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 really tall. Comes up to me after and it's like, Cóilí, not sure if you remember me, I'm Olin. And I was like, Olin, like cool Olin. Like, and I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, what are you up to? And yeah, like doing the coolest underground music, like across loads of different genres, and obviously doing the label Canvas with Lou as well. So yeah, since then, I'm just, myself and Olin become really good friends. And in terms of like inspiration and stuff, yeah, none of it's really out yet. You kind of hear bits of it on that mixtape I put out, like the starting and the ending track, kind of these really spooky, scary tunes. But that track's an inspiration to me because like I've actually played it out a lot. I actually played that track out at a gig that Skrillex was at, and he said he really liked it. So random 360 there. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's inspirational because number one, it's from Inverin, which is where like I'm actually from. You know, it's like 30 minutes outside of Galway City. It's an Irish speaking place in Connemara, and like to have an artist from Inverin, not only Galway, that does like it's such amazing music is crazy to me. You know, so that was a huge thing because I was like, wow, like you can actually really not only like make music and be from Inverin, but also like make your own music. You know. And like the drums in that, those drums are so like electronic music, like dance music. You know, you could hear them in a Chicago house track almost in a way. You know what I mean? Not the tempo of them obviously, but the drums themselves. So I just love that track in particular. And Olin's music touches on so many things. Like Olin works with artists from like Haunted Mound, which are these crazy new gen underground witch house artists, and then also Olin sort of plays some gigs with me because they're just this kind of like bog spirit, you know. And,
I can hear similarities though. You know, I can hear it's in the texture as well. Like, you know, it's there. I can hear it.
Yeah, for sure. So I just think Olin is honestly one of the coolest artists in Ireland at the moment. I know they've got like more music coming out this year, and I'm very excited for everyone to hear it because I feel like people have definitely kind of caught on and are definitely aware of who Olin is as an artist and stuff. But yeah, that track's just a huge inspiration. It's like all of Olin's music is really, really cool and inspiring, but I just love how each element of the track is really, really distinct from the other, but it just is, it's really, really simple as well, you know. I hate overcomplicated music, to be honest. It's just do maths or something now. Like if you just be a mathematician, it's so boring.
Okay, well, looking forward to the next couple of weeks. You're playing at All Together Now at the Jameson Circle Connect stage. Have you done All Together Now before? You've been there?
Yeah, I played 2 years ago at the festival. I can't remember. Is there a Wild Roots stage there?
Oh yeah, there was something like that.
I think that's what it is.
Cambium,
I know that's also
Cambium Club.
Yeah, not in the Cambium Club. The stage right beside it. I think it's called.
I
Wild
know
Roots.
the one you're talking about. Yeah. I can't remember what it's called.
I have the app here on my phone, but I want to just give Keen Finn a shout out for booking me for that because it was really sick, and it was like for me, I've always felt like I can play alongside like live artists, and even like being on your side a lot. Like I feel like, for example, like you cover what I do a lot because I feel like you understand that I shouldn't just be this like artist that's specified to clubbing, you know what I mean? And like, you have to be in the club world to like even understand who I am, you know? I feel like I've done a lot to like, I don't want all of the like, you know, people to be like, I don't need all of the sort of attention from every side of music, but like, I just want to give Keen a shout out because like that booking in particular, I think actually helped put it across that I don't need to just play at the electronic things only. Like, and you can see that with the stage this year then.
Yeah, just looking at the Global Roots stage you're talking about.
Global Roots, yes.
Yeah. So, and he's from Galway as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Cian is a legend of the Galway music
long time.
world. And then I'm also playing with a legend of the Galway music world at that stage. Maria Somerville is playing as well. She's from Connemara also.
As well. Yeah, for sure. So some good rep there. That's nice.
All the best ones.
All the best ones. Yeah, I love Maria's new album. It's fantastic, and I've yet to see her. So hopefully I'll be at that as well. So that'll be good. So yeah, any other vibe around that festival? Anything else you want to like? What do you know? What time you're playing? What's the buzz at that one?
Closing that stage at 12:30, I think, or midnight on Saturday.
On 2. Saturday. Nice one.
After David Holmes.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it'll be cool. I feel like it's the real, like, it's such a Galway stage, that one. I don't know, just the way they've put the, like, lineup together is so Galway vibes. Like, just, like, really, like dark vibes, you know? So it'll be really, really cool. I'm really excited for it. And then I'm really excited to go check out Blawan as well, because I haven't got to see him play in a long time. And also, special request, Paul is like a really good friend of mine and a good mentor. So it's cool. I was so happy I wasn't clashing with them too, because I just want to go see them.
Great. Yeah, that'll be class. So that's not far away now. All together now. Jameson connects the circle. Cóilí's been, you said Cóilí, and what do people normally call it?
Sorry, Cóilí, yeah.
Cóilí, yeah, sorry.
I think the father is silent in Dublin or something. Everyone in Dublin calls me Cóilí. Like.
Right, yeah. Fair enough. So yeah, listen, thanks for talking to me. I really appreciate it. Good to catch up with you. Like I said, you've got loads of interesting things going on. Best luck in everything you're doing. I hope that you continue doing what you're doing and stay interested and curious, which you obviously are, and engaged. You're an interesting man to talk to, and appreciate your time.
I really appreciate it, and thanks for all the coverage over the past few years. It's
No worries.
very appreciated. And if you're ever in Galway, do come in for a haircut.
I will.
After you.
Nice.
Nice one.
All right. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
That was DJ Shampain. Track was called Tweaker. You can get that on Bandcamp. So yeah, Shampain, lots going on in his world. And thank you to him for letting us in. Really interesting fella. You can catch him at Jemson Connects the Circle stage at All Together Now next weekend, next Saturday night. So yeah, that'll be fun. That is Saturday, 2nd of August. And yeah, if you like what you heard here, go back and listen to last week's episode featuring one of our other favorite returning guests, God Knows, the Irish Zimbabwean rapper who has a debut album out very soon. He's also playing the Jemson Connects the Circle stage next week. So yeah, we'll be back next week. We might be sharing the recent Prodigy listening party with Mango, who was our special guest on the night in The Big Romance when we played the album Music for the Jilted Generation from the Prodigy in full. So yeah, come back to us next week. And if you like what you hear, please tell your friends, support us, but mostly just have a listen. Let us know how you're doing. We'd love to hear from you. Podcast at niler9.com. Thanks a million. We will talk to you soon. This has been the Niler9 Podcast.